This set of 8 videos outlines the key elements of developing a school curriculum assessment framework. Based on the NHT framework, it provides a high-level view of each stage in the process.
Once you have managed to agree upon a standard, the next procedure that needs to take place in a school is to internally moderate the application of that standard. So someone needs to check that the standard is being applied that was agreed amongst the group of teachers.
Isn't that something schools have always done when they've carried out some assessments, sat round, compared the assessment of Mr. Jones with Mrs. Smith and said, you're a bit harsh, you're a bit lenient?
Well, I don't think people have actually moderated properly in the past. I think it's something that you've said earlier about standardisation, moderation, they're all mushed together.
Yeah.
Now, I think they are separate processes, and you can't moderate without having first set that standard. So it does really set out a new task for teachers. They have to sit back and just think this through a little bit. They've got to, first of all, establish a standard, and then, as you rightly say, what the moderation process is doing is making sure that people are applying that. Now, it does sound like extra work in effect, but it's not. I mean, this is just checking that the standard that's being decided by the school is actually being applied consistently, as you said, across Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones, whatever, because it's essential, especially if you've got more than one class in a year group. Otherwise, you finish up with varying standards. So it is making sure that that standard is applied. It's not a conversation about...
And applied consistently.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're not just kind of scratching each other's back, you know, like yours looked okay, so, you know, accept mine has been okay. This is harder than that in a sense, stricter than that. But once you get your head around that, I think it does make the process fairer. It makes teachers understand what the expected process is and what the expected standard is. And in the long term, I believe that saves work rather than creates work.
Well, the schools that we've worked with recently have all claimed that once they've agreed that standard, and once they have carried out a moderation procedure internally, that life becomes much, much easier because they know the standard, they know what they're looking for. If they can't find it, they know what they have to teach next. So assessment impacts directly upon teaching and learning.
I think absolutely right. I think the other thing it gives us, if a teacher isn't applying that standard consistently, it gives us some clues as their knowledge of the subject. I mean, some people will need to be stopped from assessing and retrained, as it were. Others will need to be tweaked. You say they might be just a little bit lenient or severe, which is, you know, solvable. I mean, they're all solvable. But if people are not applying that standard properly, it might just give us indication they're not right on top of their subject. And that brings in CPD. But I'd rather know that. I'd rather know where the gaps were in my staff's knowledge than it being hidden away as it was in the past. I think the process we are talking about really brings this out into the open domain. And it's good professional dialogue, it's good professional development as you do this.
So what you're saying, Mick, is it's about good practice. There's benefits for the staff and the pupils in having an effective internal moderation system.
Absolutely. And then if you look at the new Ofsted inspection framework, for example, they'll look at how assessment actually impacts on teaching and learning. And this is really what we're talking about. We're not just looking at what the work that the children have done. We're actually giving that feedback, A, to the children, but B, to the staff. We're making sure that they actually understand that standard and how to apply it. And that's got to be a good thing. Frog Education provides a series of courses that explore the processes outlined in the 8 videos to provide schools with an understanding of what a curriculum and assessment framework should look like and how it works. For further information, contact Frog Education.